Hi, and welcome to Mindshifters Radio. And today is Thursday, June the 18th, 2026.
Welcome, Miss Susan. It's you and I at the moment.
Good grief.
We're it. I wonder where everybody is.
Well, who knows?
Who knows? Well, is there anything exciting happening in your world? Well, I'll tell you first of all what's happening in our world.
Okay.
I'm actually sitting in the outdoor dining area of a Kroger grocery store
Uh-huh.
in Knoxville, Tennessee. We got on
Uh,
the road this morning. We did a little garden work this morning and got on the road and we stopped here to get an alignment done on our car. I'm over to have lunch. Jeannie just called and said the car's ready, so she's going to pick it up. And we just finished lunch at Kroger's.
how
So that's
nice.
our report for the day. How about you?
Oh, excellent. Today is my least busy day, so it's just been working on my projects and answering some emails and going for a walk. It's been a very peaceful day.
Nice,
So
nice.
we haven't heard from Charlie other than sending pictures now and again, and he's not talking about how he feels. So we're just hanging out. And I haven't talked to my son with the idea that if his peaceful calm has departed, it's because he has a goal or goals. And I love that idea. That was a helpful idea yesterday.
Well, after our conversation, I was thinking about how people talk about the stressful situations they were in.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing as a stressful situation. There may be acute situations, maybe painful situations, but unless there's a goal involved, there's no stress.
But
That to me is such a huge piece of information to understand is that goals create stress.
all right, and yet we do need stress. You've said that. Getting the
Oh yeah,
stress
without it,
you
we're
need.
dead. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if I didn't have the stress of hunger, I wouldn't stop to eat, and I'd have dried up and blown away. Of course, it'd probably take me a little while to do that. I
That's
could
funny.
probably drop a few ounces to
Right.
be my ideal weight, but hey, who couldn't?
Oh boy.
Actually, I could probably share some with you. You could probably use some, right?
Oh no, with these Iraqis living with us, the mother likes to cook. And I gained eight
Ah,
pounds. And
oh, really? So she's
yeah, and
fattening you up. Oh, that's cool.
yeah, she's fattened me up, and the doctor thinks that's good, and my husband thinks that's good. And so I'm not doing anything about it except get this. I've been pre-diabetic for years, and it's in my family. I read
Yeah.
about this sugar regulating potion that one can make. A teaspoon of honey with a half teaspoon of powdered cinnamon once a
Yeah,
day.
cinnamon's powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, once a day at a mealtime. Don't do it on an empty stomach. You could do it in the
Right.
evening after a meal. I've been doing that for about 2 weeks, and I just had blood work taken. Not only am I not pre diabetic, I'm even in the low middle range of normal blood sugar.
Wow. Wow.
So I don't
That's
know if
awesome.
there's, I don't know what that is. I've also been very careful about eating sugar. Um, and we eat a very simple home. We rarely go out to dinner because of all the hazards of eating what you're not sure what's in it, sort of thing.
Right.
Mainly salads, and my wonderful Iraqi mother who lives here just made some calf's liver, and it's delicious. And I don't like eating animals. My mother refused to eat animals, but I know it's probably good for you, and I just haven't reconciled all that. But anyway, it's fun to get, at age 82 to get stellar blood work in all departments. It wasn't only that, there was nothing wrong in there.
Well, that's called doing your work. What it is everything's in alignment as it's supposed to be when you live as a human being. It's
And
interesting. There's something that happens to people who are very ill. And oftentimes in the last 24 hours or 40 to 48 hours of their lives, all of their blood work comes into perfect alignment.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
I know mental health problems are the same. People become unpsychotic when they're dying. I
Yep.
had a priest who had AIDS, died of AIDS, and he was bipolar, a very difficult person to have as a priest. Brilliant, but you never knew if you were going to be attacked or
Right.
loved on. I mean, it was
Mm-hmm.
just unpredictable. But toward the end of his life, he became mentally well. And our
Well, I suspect
parish,
that's that in order to pass, you've got to enter your body, and a lot of people I don't think are even in their bodies. And I think when being shows up, it starts to bring everything into alignment.
that's very interesting. By the way, you made a comment in one of my amazing posts on Facebook about the woman who did enough research to find out that the reason breast milk is good is because the saliva of the infant goes back through the breast and the
Right.
baby's needs are fixed. The milk adjusts
The milk
itself.
adjust. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And you said something about maybe it's really the breath. Could you explain that?
Well, my take is that we live in this energy field, and if we are in resonance and harmony with the energy field, then the energy field's in harmony with us.
Mm-hmm.
And we bring it all down to, oh, it has to happen through something physical that we think about. But let's go back to a scriptural quote that seems like, oh, that's got to be, I mean, how could that make any sense? But I think it's exactly the same principle as the one this woman is talking about. For those who are listening, Susan had posted a post where a nurse who worked with nursing mothers had the insight that there's more to breastfeeding than just the milk, and did a lot of research and came up with how the breast milk adjusts to the condition. If the child has an infection, there are more antibodies and that sort of thing. Well, I think it's exactly the same principle in the scriptures they talk about. If we're in harmony with the law, if we're in harmony with the earth, if we're in harmony with the energy field around us, then right up to the point where we get rain in due season, you don't get droughts, you don't get wiped out by, storms and such. And it's got to do with, is there harmony in the field? And harmony in the field means everything works properly. And if something's needed, it shows up. And the place where mom and baby connect, my take would be, again, where does human life come from? We've got this lump of clay, whether it's a breast or a baby's mouth taking in milk and the digestive system. All that is a piece of clay. It's a piece of soil. That's it. Without the intelligence that animates it, and if that intelligence is in alignment with itself and the environment around it, then that alignment takes care of everything that needs to be taken care of. Everything that is needed by an individual shows up in the environment. If it's not showing up, that's the place to look and say, okay, what's the work I need to do? What do I need to look at here? What's going on here?
Not to bypass the research, though, for the people who just came on, the baby's saliva actually travels back through the mother's nipple and breast and into the mother's system, whereupon the mother's system reads the baby's saliva and adjusts the milk according to what the baby's needs are. And Michael's making a point that's much more subtle than that, but I don't want you to gloss over that wonderful piece of research.
Oh yeah, it's fabulous that she's looking at that on that level. I mean, that's like bringing us, every person who taps into that sort of connectedness, I think, gives us an example of and a taste of getting closer and closer to truly functioning as holy beings. Nothing to do with having hands folded, but rather being a whole, being connected as we're designed to be, and conscious as we're designed to be. That the energy system aligns whatever's needed, right down to the rain.
So, Michael, in a totally different thing, and I'm going to get off because other people have come on and they may want to do a wake up sheet or something. I was talking to my priest daughter about the book of Numbers, because you talk about a hot, sandy place and how long people took to wander around the desert. There was
Right.
a tent, you probably know this, there was a tent of meeting there, and they stayed at that tent because a kind of a mist would descend, and God would speak to the people through this mist. And sometimes they would wait for a year for the mist to come and speak to them again. So they weren't just wandering around like idiots. They were really, they had an intention about staying there. And I don't know how that jives with what you often say about a hot, sandy place. I've forgotten exactly what you said, but it's just a wonderful piece of information that I'd never paid attention to.
Yeah, I think that fits perfectly. And my take is when they talk about 40 years in the desert, and my tongue-in-cheek line is they're not talking about a hot sandy place. They're talking about coming into life unconscious, out of
Mm-hmm.
touch. And
Yeah.
when we have an unconscious mind, then we create effects in our world that are untoward effects. And that's where people ask themselves the question, why is this happening to me again? And I would hear that, and I've never really tapped into that passage, but I would hear that that thing of being in a particular place. A tent would be a place. Remember, Yeshua uses another metaphor. He says, I would that you had been willing. I would have taken you under my wings like a mother chicken protects her chicks.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that tent would be a metaphor for, are you tapping in? Are you living in the protection of the energy field? And yes, one of the things in the intuitive development intensive that we do is we invite people to open themselves rather than, oh, I have to hear this, I have to see this, I have to taste this, I have to touch it, I have to smell it. It's like, no, how about if you just take a breath and let it speak to you? And
Wonderful.
it may speak in a color, it may speak in a shape, it may speak in a symbol. There are all
Mm-hmm.
kinds of ways. And then there's there's an interesting video, and I imagine if you just uh, uh, searched on YouTube, blind bicycle riding. And there's a young boy who's very young. I think he's 3 or 4 when he loses both of his eyes
Oh, I
to
know that
cancer.
book.
Yeah, he
That's an
loses both of his
amazing
eyes
book.
to cancer, and
Yeah.
he plays basketball and he scores
Right.
points, and he goes out riding his bike around the neighborhood, and he's
Right.
got no eyes. Well,
Mm-hmm.
what happened? Well, his mother taught him when he lost his eyes. You're not going to lose your sight. You've just lost your eyes. The eye is just a mechanism to bring information in. So she taught this boy to click and to
Mm-hmm.
gather information with his ears to the click coming back. And in this video, he's walking down the street with the guy who's interviewing him, and he's doing these clicks. He says, over here on the light, left, there about 12 feet ahead of us, there's a garbage can, and over here there's a this and that and that and that. And I mean, he goes riding through the neighborhood on his bicycle with no problem. Does
Oh,
he
it's
have eyes
amazing.
to see? No, he has no eyes, but he can gather information. The eyes are just an information gathering device. He can gather information in other ways than the eyes. And
Mm-hmm.
so I would hear that mist being one of the ways, a way of addressing this sensation of, we're opening to communication from the whole, from the guidance system. We're
Right.
stepping out of our unconsciousness. We're feeling safe. You'll remember the first night of the intensive, we introduced the idea of the reason why people live in their drama and trauma and never look at it is because they've never felt safe enough to open up and look at it.
Mm.
And so what we're looking to do is to create a safe environment, a safe space to let everything open. And when the space is safe enough, things open. So I would see the tent, the covering is, okay, so here we are. We're in a shared community space where we're safe enough. Now let's breathe in, let's receive this communication. And
Mm.
I could easily, from the way I've watched people receive information, and they've been shocked. I mean, they're working with a partner. They've gotten to know this partner over 4 or 5 days, and all of a sudden, they're telling this partner something they couldn't, in a million years, even start to guess. And the partner's
Yeah.
going, what? And it's just allowing ourselves to gather information rather than being addicted to our our five senses and recognize there are many other ways to do it. So I could hear, I could see that if in a protected, safe space, it could feel like a mist that's communicating with us, bringing us healing and support.
Wonderful thought. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to
Sweet.
mute. And
Okay, young lady, appreciate you. Blessings.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, bye.
Bye. Welcome, everybody. Andrea, how are you, young lady?
Hi. Yeah. That was, what was that?
I was just asking how you were doing.
Oh, okay.
You
Thank you.
shared yesterday some. Okay. Excuse me. We're just, Jeannie just arrived. I had shared
Okay.
when we started the show that we are on the road, and
Okay.
I started the show from the patio of a Kroger grocery store where we just had lunch. We were actually in Knoxville, Tennessee, and Jeannie just went and picked up the car, and we just had it aligned, and we're on the road to St. Louis.
Nice.
But I wanted to check in with you with what we were processing and just see how you were doing.
Yeah, a lot came very clear, mostly in the middle of the night.
It's a good time.
It
It's a good time for a mist to descend on you, isn't
it? Yes. Yeah, like so many threads were moving through that. And what I'm noticing is like when I'm getting into the core of, I'm kind of seeing it like a spider web, and right in the center is that new layer, or that layer that I'm currently in, of certain patterns or wounds. And it gets so intense that it's like, okay, I want to first have everybody away from me. And then when it gets so intense, it's like, oh no, I need support here. And in that web that I was seeing was tied to so many things, but a few that came really clear. One thread was, remember when at the intensive in one of the Still Point breast sessions with you, that lifetime in Scotland came up, and this very, very wounded man, serious trauma, and then him acting it out. And that was threaded into what I was processing in the power person dynamic yesterday. Well, for it's been up for a little while, and how it was, so through that tether to that moving through me, also I seen this other tether. It was like this, I don't know if it's a tether, but like connection.
A link, yeah.
Yeah, to this, and I don't know enough about it, but it weaved all the way back.
Exit the parking lot toward North Foothills Plaza Drive.
To how women have, just from this perspective, how women, the wounding on the feminine side was to take this over responsibility that weaves all the way back into this Pistis Sophia, and I don't know anything about it. So there's something there that's unfolding, and it's like this, maybe it's even just a misinterpretation that has been manifesting through the collective on how women are over responsible in a perspective. And so, like, I'm trying to explain it, it's actually coming from so many different connections. And then the biggest one that came very clear was how in my current family system, the motto throughout my life that I've witnessed and perceived is there's so much shame in what is being hidden the very deep darkness that has run through the family with, sexual abuse and like very deep, dark things. Even to the point where it plays out now, like at my daughter's graduation, my auntie was explaining how as a child, she in school would like tell them, my dad's in jail, so I'm not in school, and my mom beat me last night and all this stuff. And then she laughed and said, and none of that was true. And I'm like, I know it's true. This all happened. And
Right.
even in this age, for her in her 60s, those denial patterns are still present. And there's so much shame. There's this hiding energy, and it's like there's a lot more to it that I won't get into. I'm just trying to describe the clarity that I'm having on the power person dynamic.
Mm.
And I could see yesterday, I was like almost at the breakthrough, but that core pain sensations that come up,
Right.
I'm still feeling like it's so big that I would feel better with support, of course, around it. Whereas like in the past, I was a little more versed just to go do breath work and hold it myself. But it feels like sometimes it just feels so big.
Too big. Yeah, I hear you. Well, what I would offer is when you realize what it takes. I've said this a couple times the last couple of weeks, but we're sitting in a car, and here I am. My eyes seem to be showing me something that I know is generated by my brain. And what I'm seeing are these lights and this trailer and this car and this truck and this prime sign and this Target store. And for my brain to generate an image with that much detail, I mean, can we fathom how much data has to be moving within us in order for the brain to give us, to have a device that gives us that level of detail? And that's one of the reasons why the Power Person worksheet is, 19 pages long. Getting ready to grow again is because what we're looking to do, because literally the Power Person dynamic runs the whole world, and we tend to resonate or attract those who can show us our Power Person dynamics, and those who also have the capability, if they're solid enough in their own being, to be that space of support when those things come up, to support, mutual support in terms of each other, but to recognize the complexity. When one sets a goal, everything in that person's history, i.e. what's stored in brain cells, what's stored in the so-called physical tissue of our bodies, what's stored in the genes, in the DNA from 2, 10, 20, 100 generations ago. Anything that is in resonance with that, that I talked about the middle C tuning fork. I hit it on the desk and I put it near a second middle C tuning fork. How does that second tuning fork start to move? What happens? I didn't touch it. Well, the fact that the energy wave coming off of the first tuning fork and the substance, the atomic structure that it's coming from, having the matching atomic magnetic structure of the second tuning fork, that frequency transfers its energy. So when we set a goal, that goal is a recruiter that goes to work and pulls forward. Who knows? And especially in a trauma situation, there may be factors from something that happened back in you bring up Scotland, back in Scotland 400 years ago, to my how many great grandmothers, grandfathers back, and then how many were impacted by that, and the mind energy that comes together to be converted into this picture world that we see. And especially when we see trauma and terror, how much is involved there. And most everybody gets a sense of that or hears that and goes, oh, okay, well, I'm ready to be finished tomorrow. And when you realize there's such a piece of work to be done, and to just develop the patience with yourself, the patience with each other, to allow those things to surface and be moved through. And then remember the reason for doing the worksheets on a continuous basis is to keep the stress level manageable, so we don't go into that ultra stress space where the dynamics of the power person are what run the show. So I acknowledge you for your patience and just being conscious of allowing those things to move, and hold the space for safety and support for moving through it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, a part of the ceremony that I was holding last night, I could see this. It felt like a pre-agreement that I would come and experience what I would experience to heal it for the family system. But then there's like this chicken or egg part. I have two questions for you.
Yeah.
So if I didn't hold those goals, then I wouldn't have experienced what I experienced to heal what was manifesting through the unhealed aspects of my family line. Is
Right.
that true?
Exactly. Yes. Until a goal or an energy field that matches enters our sensory awareness.
Mhm.
So I maybe don't have a goal about something in particular, but an energy field, a middle C tuning fork shows up for my middle C trauma, and all of a sudden the simple resonance means that trauma is going to start to move. And I now have the opportunity to learn forgiveness. And to do that, I'm going to be looking at, okay, so I didn't have any goals. I was just sitting here, and all of a sudden this starts to move. And, I saw this darting thing out of the corner of my eye, and I went into terror. What's going on here? Well,
Mhm.
so I asked myself now, in order to get back to a settled, centered state, what did that darting thing in the corner of my eye resonate for me? And what goal? Well, it meant there's an attack coming. I have this memory from, you know, that opening scene in the movie Braveheart, where all the Scots are hung, and the little kids looking at these men that he knows that have all been hung by the king. And so now, what goals are engaged here, and what do I need to cancel in order to be freed from it?
Mhm.
What do I need to clear out of this field? What do I need to bring to the breath and the presence of love in order to be free of this? Which, until somebody came along that was conscious and said, I'm going to do my work, if that happened, I don't remember what's around the 1200s that the whole uh, Braveheart thing happened, if I remember correctly. I may be an error in that. So how many generations have been impacted by that, and for how long? And if you're the first one that shows up and says, okay, I'm ready to embrace this, I'm ready to let this come forward and process through it.
Mhm.
How many goals from how many generations am I going to touch into and clean out in order to get conscious?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
process. And that's why, that passage that I'd like to refer to, although I haven't referred to it very much lately in the scriptures, where Yeshua has a special group of disciples. This is not the public teaching. He's got his inner group, and he gives them assignments. And some number of members of the group that were at that point, they weren't just people who'd come around to hear him speak, but they were actual disciples. And the larger part of half of them, when he gave them that assignment, said, too hard a saying. They mumbled, they got too hard a saying. Who can hear this? And then it says, and they left and they walked with him no more. They just disappeared. Hey, I'm not going near this stuff. And sometimes when things start to come up that are too intense, it's like, yeah, it's time to run. And that's the time to take a breath and do the next layer of work and get closer to the support.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
acknowledging you for doing that
Thank you.
and being in the willingness to go there.
Mhm. And interesting you bring up Braveheart because I believe that was a movie based on Rob Roy McGregor's
Yes.
story. And that's actually my dad's side are the McGregors, and we've traced it
Really?
back to Rob Roy. So I just think it's funny, the synchronicity. And that was kind of the depth of what I was opening into yesterday, was like how deep this goes. Like, as I've moved out of taking it personally
Right.
and just really opening the space more like I'm mostly willing conduit.
Right. The unwilling willing.
Exactly. It's like, okay, this is happening.
We have
So
one therapist who labored herself the most willing, unwilling person she knew.
is that Lucia?
No, no.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's funny.
Yeah.
And then the other question that I had for you was, is it a time right now that you could speak to the Pistis Sophia? Because I'm really curious why that even came into my awareness yesterday.
Well, two perspectives. One, every human being that breathes has the wisdom of the Creator within them. If it's coming through a male form, they would tend to look at it as male. And if it's coming through a female form, then they think of it as female wisdom. I think the source of the wisdom is the same. It's the same breath. And it's interesting, and where the twist took place, I don't know. It's not something I'm historically acquainted with and haven't been inclined to follow up on. But there was a group of Greek philosophers. They called themselves the Sophists. And their game was they traveled around Greece, working with the children of the wealthy, teaching them how to lie and make their lies appear true. They were called the Sophists. Today when we talk about, oh, she's so sophisticated, basically what we're saying is, well, there's some pretty good airs for the phoniness there. So where the dividing line comes with Sophia as the wisdom, and I think that the early, in this Western world, the early church had a great deal of honor for the feminine wisdom, but the patriarchy said, no, we can't have that, and shut it down. And you look at it today, and you watch women rising, and I mean, it's been clearly demonstrated through all kinds of testing that women are intellectually smarter than men. That's just the way it is. And stronger than men can handle a whole lot more things than men, although not necessarily muscularly stronger, but stronger in stamina and such. And so the weaklings who call themselves supremacist, I mean, they've got a plan. I don't know if you've looked at any of it, but it's a plan that's been put in writing to in the States in particular, pass laws to make sure that women are rejected from education,
Mhm.
to make sure that women cannot enter management jobs. I mean, this is literally a written plan, and that women will not be able to have access to birth control, so they'll have to have babies without restraint. And I think that's just the insanity of the male weakling trying, because he has superior physical strength, to control what he's afraid of, what he's terrified of.
Mhm.
And it's time for us to just come back to balance, and balance is key.
Mhm.
And we have, of course, both of those uh, characteristics, the masculine and the feminine within us, and bringing that to wholeness is, I think, something each and every one of us needs to do.
Yeah. Okay.
So joining you and breathing into your wisdom,
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
Delighted and honored.
I appreciate that. And just what did come through yesterday with this, whatever this Sophia aspect is it didn't feel like, when I was tapping into it, it didn't feel like it was the stream trying to describe the whole of the Holy Spirit or whatever, the divine feminine. But it was like it was capturing a piece of it
Right.
that was holding part of this distorted pattern of the feminine. So I'm going to look into it just because I'm curious on why my attention was being drawn to it. But I was also like, it's pretty hard to read those texts. So I was hoping for for your higher wisdom about it, instead of wading through the distortion. So if anybody does know, I would love to hear. So
Cool. When you get a handle on it, maybe you'll share it with us.
Yeah, you bet. I've been studying the Gnostic texts here for a while. It just keeps coming in to my reality. Like, what it's felt like is that in moving through my conscious awareness, something's asking for me to shift it in perception, or in perception in my own family system somehow. Like somehow there's some distortion that's asking for my attention to shift it. I don't know
Right.
exactly how that's working. I don't have the clarity on it yet, but thank you for your support yesterday continuously, and enjoy your travels. You're going to Heartland, right?
Well, we're heading
After.
to St. Louis to see my daughter and her kids. And then Saturday, we drive down to Branson. We've got a timeshare for a week with my son and his kids. And then I drop Jeannie off at the airport on Sunday, and she flies home. And I go to Heartland to just check things out, pack some things up, and drive back.
Awesome.
So that's
On the road again.
On the road again. Yeah. And, you know, I've been actually quite resistant to doing it. We've been here almost 8 years now. Prior to that, I literally was on the road anywhere from 6 to 10 months of the year for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so putting my head down on the same pillow every night, really nice. I'm enjoying that a lot. Having a garden to go out and, you know, yesterday, over the last few days, the kids have cleaned off the mulberries and the blueberries off of the bushes. And yesterday I was walking up to one part of the garden, and under a leaf I spied one blueberry. And so when my grandson got there, he's 19 months, he was quite excited that I took him up and showed him the blueberry and let him have it. So I'm enjoying that, you know, being home and such. But I could easily not be on the road right now, but we are. So that's what it is for today. But another point on, you know, based on what you were saying, is that one of the things that when we look at the cosmology from the Aramaic perspective and from the Greek perspective, one of the assaults that I think the Greeks have committed upon the world is that there's been this sort of intellectual structure installed. This is probably slippery. There's been this intellectual structure that's grown up that has us believe that we need to figure it out. We need to be able to understand, we're able to think our way through this. It's a thinking process. When, you know, and I say it sort of tongue in cheek, but I'm quite serious when I say it as well, is we have to be out of our minds. The Aramaic is a living, breathing, experiential process, where the Greek is a thinking, holding your breath and blaming when you don't like it process. And we've all been so steeped in this Greek mindset that we need to be freed from. And it's more about being in the breath experience of being a human rather than trying to intellectually figure out human things. At least that's my best take on it at this point.
Yeah, I love that. Getting back into the heart
Yeah,
and
connect
out of
with
the
your parents.
mind.
It's all about connection.
Hmm.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, any other thoughts for you today?
No, thank you. Enjoy your travels and big
Okay, thank
hugs
you.
to you and Jeannie.
Accepted, thank you. All right, well, how's everybody doing? Welcome. Bridget and Carrie and Kathy, Nishborn, Mitzi, Rex, Sally. We already talked to Susan. So glad y'all are here. Who's got a thought for us? We've got about 17 minutes left, I think. So what's happening? Sally?
No. Oh,
Yeah, I
go
just
ahead.
have a quick comment. I was recently listening to Oprah Winfrey interview Gloria Steinem, and she was talking, and Gloria Steinem is an author that I think I highly revere and have followed for many years, and she writes good books. What
Right.
she was talking about today was that the generational attempt to control the womb is the plight of women throughout the centuries. That if women didn't have a womb, there probably wouldn't be any issue. And the way she said those words, it really struck me. Like, if women didn't have a womb, and I hadn't ever thought those thoughts, but what a way to bring it home. Like, the attempt to control the womb and all that's going on right now. So yeah, I'm breathing with that. And to Andrea's share, I really support Andrea in the work she's doing. I feel like I'm right with you, sister. And just grateful that for this community, for your willingness to be on the radio show, even though you're on the road. I know how challenging that can be, and I appreciate you all. That's it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. You remind me of a poem that I heard many, many years ago. And the poem went, "It has been said, and I believe it is true. The definition of heaven is a womb with a view."
Yes, I've heard that too. I've heard that too. It's a beautiful way. I have had godmothers in the past. I specially assigned them all. You are now my official godmother. And they were very, very wise women, but one of them she actually wrote a poem called Womb with a View.
Oh, really?
Thank you. Yes,
Cool.
her name was Audrey, and if she were still alive, she'd be 103. And I am so graced with, once I realized that the mother who birthed me did a good job of birthing me, and I'm grateful for all my parts. And I needed more mother energy in my life. And so I just started collecting godmothers. And now I get to be one. So that's really fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So
very cool.
I'm driving too. And so I'm always grateful for your heavenly voices on this time together.
Delighted. Glad you're here. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other thoughts? Okay. So who's got another thought? We're down to about 14 minutes. So anyone have a question, thought for us? Answer, idea? Anything to share that's exciting? Not a thought from anyone.
I do. Hi. I just
Oh,
got
go for it, young lady.
hi.
I have this baby praying mantis that's just cruising around on me. It refuses to get off me. So cool.
What was it that's flying
A
around
baby,
you?
a baby praying mantis is like
Oh,
hanging
cool.
out on me and will not get off.
Hmm.
It's so cute.
I wonder what kind of energy the praying mantis brings.
Oh, I don't, I looked it up once. I had one that lived in my apartment in Albuquerque one winter. Um, so I'll have to look it up and share tomorrow when I get on.
Ah, cool.
So
So what's on your mind?
I went and picked up my mom yesterday from the behavioral health.
So she's
Excuse me.
home now?
She is, and
How's she feeling about that?
she feels great. She's so happy to be home. I was really nervous. I was like, I was really nervous. And on the ride home, I was nervous. I found myself getting, I was a little short. I found myself in the pretzel of the past, and so I, was constantly bringing myself back to breath, and then typically in the past when I would have a request or something, she'd say how, I was a Mimi or I was trying to control the situation, where it was merely a request for presence. So I felt I was feeling hesitant to ask for her to be present. But then I did. We stopped at a gas station and I said, rather than you getting on your phone and doing all this investment stuff and being just distracted by that, Mom, we have this short period of time together where it's just you and me, and I would really appreciate it and would love it if you would set all of that aside and take this time for you and I to reconnect and talk about things that are important, important to me and important to you and your experience, your thoughts, your feelings, how you want to move forward. And she, for the first time, I swear, I think maybe for the first time since, she was dating the CEO of Yogi Chi, who is a Sikh, that insisted that, she have breath as part of, our reality. And I was 16 at that time. I'm 54 now, so do the math. She did. She just put her phone down. She took a deep breath and she said, "Okay, let's do this." And so it was really awesome that she was able to be present for herself and for moving forward and with me. I'm so grateful. The work. Okay, so a couple of thoughts. What you said earlier, to our soul family here that's with us today, making the choice to be present in the most difficult situations that you come across is where the work lies. Is therein lies the work for us, and I am living it right now. So I'm speaking through experience, soul family, and it's so incredibly beautiful. Like, these are tears of joy. Instead of running from the most difficult relationship I have in life, have been totally present, and I feel so incredibly blessed.
It's powerful when you can embrace what your mind told you was a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. So
Or
yes,
holding the space for you both to breathe. And
yeah. um, when you choose to be present, I'm fine. When I choose to be present in life, then all of the constraints fall away, and then the multitude of blessings that are bestowed upon us just by breathing are limitless.
yes, you'd think we were designed for it.
You
So,
think?
so
Oh, you know, so in addition, I'm human, so none of, this is not just like a walk in the park for me, cakewalk, so sometimes it's a walk in the park and a tornado's coming, right in front of me. And I'm like, sucked into the wind, and so today and oh, okay. So then I have this partner, who I found him irritating me. And then I was like, you know what? Like being in relationship.
Somebody outside of you irritates you? Really?
Oh yeah,
I
like,
wanted to check into that. I didn't know that was possible.
yeah, especially the one closest to me, right?
Uh, mm.
Only the ones closest to me. I could be, I'll be walking down the street and have the most delightful relations with the
So,
perfect stranger.
yeah. So let me just check this out. So you have this person that's very close to you. He irritates you, and so there's this whole new experience you're having that you've never had before. That he's
No,
causing for you.
no,
Okay.
no,
So,
Michael,
so maybe
like
he
you already
wasn't
know,
irritating
like
you.
I sent my two closest loves to me is when I sent to you when I first met you. I mean, come on now, 35 years ago. And then I dropped them off at your doorstep and said, "You deal with them. I'm out of here." Oh, but anyway, with that on that note, I'm just like I'm breathing through it and I'm saying, hey, we live in very close quarters, yeah, like in a tiny house, and
So what you need to be forgiving?
everything,
Well, but when I say
everything.
everything, what I just said was, so there's nothing for me to do.
Oh no, like everything for me to do, like breathe, and treat my neighbor like I would like to be treated, hello.
Yeah,
Law number one, love your God, your Father unconditionally, and then love your neighbor, which is your
yeah.
family, your
So
spouse, your
so
everything,
so my
as you love your
question is,
Father,
hold on. You're telling us a story. I'm going to invite you to come out of your story for a minute and just be
Yeah,
with. What's the piece of work that you're facing right now that your partner is giving you the opportunity to look at? And you're
radical
willing
acceptance. I don't know. I do
acceptance,
know
okay.
it's acceptance.
Acceptance, approval.
Yeah. Like he's
So,
harmless.
yeah.
The irritating parts are him not living up to my expectations. Hello, like expectations set me up for
So,
failure every
so
time.
notice once again the denial. Remember, our definition of denial in this work is when I think
Isn't
or
it a
speak.
long river
Oh,
somewhere?
wait a minute. When I think or speak as though something outside of me is a cause of what's moving inside of me, I'm in denial. And then to be in denial means that the truth I have to dissociate from. I have to hide it from myself. And then my mind makes up a story about somebody or something else. But what
Right.
I'm asking you to do is to come back to what's the piece of work you need to do. Then, if radical acceptance is what's needed, how did it feel when your power person wasn't accepting you? And what's the specific goal involved, the piece of work that you can do to be freed of that?
Right.
Are you breathing? So what is
Yeah.
that? What is that goal?
Well, I mean, I need your help understanding a little better as far as the goal. What
Well,
is the goal? As
that's
I
what I'm
understand the
asking
part
you.
about like my power person not accepting me and all of that. So, but what do you mean by what is the goal?
So when you're talking about he being the source of your disturbance, what
Mhm.
what I know is there's a goal that you hold for him that if you cancel it, you'll go instead of having an indirect relationship with your disturbance.
This is not somebody.
He's gone, I think. So instead of having an indirect relationship with that disturbance, i.e., projecting it into your brain's image of him, if you look at the goal and you cancel it, then by canceling that, what drives that construct about that you think is about him, then he'll drop out of the picture and you'll come back into a direct breath relationship with your disturbance. And when you do, that's when forgiveness occurs. That's when healing happens. Does that make sense? So the invitation is to look specifically at the goal. Gee, what I wanted him to do was, have the table set and dinner ready when I got home like he agreed to. Or what I wanted him to do when I come in the door was just voluntarily come over and give me a hug. What I wanted him to do was to have gotten that special food when he went out to the grocery store to prove he's thinking about me. Whatever it is. So that's how you go to the specific piece of work that you have to do around this issue. And that's what I'm inviting you into. And what I notice is that sometimes you get into the story and you'll roll over things, and I'm asking you to slow down, come back and connect with, okay, so what's the work I can do right here to heal this disturbance that my mind is telling me is about him? Does that make sense?
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started realizing that
Well,
finally.
now we're going back to the story. I'm inviting you to let go of telling your story and come back to, in this specific circumstance that you just mentioned that involved him, what's the goal? What is it you want from him? Are you breathing?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the goal?
Well,
Are you with?
really, do what?
I was just asking if you were still there. Are you with me?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Well, so what I realized is the goal, essentially is I mean, to not have a goal. If that's what I've been starting, that's what I've been realizing. Remember.
No, this is avoidance. Now you're playing the avoidance game. So I'm going to invite you to come back once again. You had a conversation about your significant other, about how he, and I don't remember exactly what word used, disturbed you.
Annoys me.
Annoyance. Okay. So now, in the circumstance, I'm asking you to come straight into what this is about, really about. In this circumstance, what is it in the moment where your annoyance came up? If you were to have turned to him and said, if only you would have done this, then I would be happy. What's the this? What's the goal?
I
In
mean,
this
there are
specific
multiple.
circumstance.
There's like
No,
several.
stop. Let go of the story and just identify. There was a moment where this sensation came up in you that was unpleasant, that your mind told you was caused by him. In that instant, you had a specific goal for him to do something. What was it?
What I'm saying, Michael, is it's anything. He at this point,
No,
like
no, no,
almost
no, no,
everything
no, no.
annoys me with him.
Anything means,
No, I could tell you, I could ramble off like 10 things right now that annoy me about him in 10 different situations in the last, like 12 hours
yeah,
that I
but
find annoying.
I'm not, stop. But you see, the way you avoid it, you can say, well, I have 10 situations. Okay. So now what I'm going to suggest you do when we finish the show is have 10 worksheets printed out in front of you and write the goal down in each situation of those 10 that was involved, the specific. What is it you wanted from him? You've got, from what you just said, you've got 10 worksheets to do around this. And a way to avoid it is to say, well, there are so many things. It's just, there are so many. What I'm inviting you to do is to come back to yourself and recognize if there are 10 situations, then there are 10 different goals. Write each of them down in step 3 of the worksheet, and then do these worksheets around him and watch how your relationship with him changes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe we can continue this conversation tomorrow then, if you do those worksheets and come back with a report and let us know what,
Oh my God.
what moved for you.
10 power person worksheets?
No. Just 10 regular forgiveness worksheets.
Oh, forgiveness worksheets. Okay.
Yeah. This is simple, straightforward, 7-step. He's the object of attention in step number 1. Step number 3.
I have not done a forgiveness worksheet yet, Michael. So I'm
Okay, that's why we're doing this. Okay. So I'm going to invite you to do 10 of them between now and tomorrow. They're simple. They're simple. You can do a worksheet in a minute and a half. Doesn't have to be a
okay.
big, long deal. Just, you said there were 10 different situations. Then what I know is there are 10 different goals. It might have been the same goal 10 different times, but each one is a different piece of work. And it might have been 10 different goals. So I'm going to invite you to take that single page worksheet, go to step 3, and write down the 10 goals that involve the 10 situations. And then follow through and do those worksheets. And let's have a conversation about it tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay? Cool.
Sounds
Awesome.
good.
All right. Appreciate you. Lots of love and blessings, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Send blessings to our travels. Bye-bye.